I want to turn now to a topic that I think is crucial for all of us. These are important warnings we must take with us from law school. First warning, plan for things to go terribly wrong. For example, 2 days before our very first contracts exam, Kelly Wood had the temerity to throw himself down the flight of stairs. He's shifting in his seat right now. Kelly showed up for our exam with his arm in a sling and his face pale as a ghost. And I remember my first thought was how some people will do anything to give themselves an excuse for doing poorly on it. My second thought was I wish I could take this exam doped up on Percocet. Second warning, do not be too clever. For this, I want to tell you a story about something that happened to one of our classmates. Our second summer, we had a visiting professor in torts. Why are you kidding me? She was from New Orleans by way of Chicago, and she ran a rather laid-back class, wandering up and down the aisles. Now, this classmate of ours, who's not sitting here, but I know he's out in the audience somewhere. I won't name him. He discovered the limits of laid-back. In fact, I'm not going to name him, let's just call him Jacob J. Aubrey. This is the story of the Rouge. So one day, this visiting torts professor handed out a short hypothetical legal problem. The main character in this hypothetical was a little girl named Rouge, that's spelled U-R-O-O-J. Now, we all thought a Rouge was just a made-up name to help us keep track of the hypothetical as our class went through it. And as we were finishing up the discussion, Mr. Abiray raised his hand. And he said, excuse me, but did you know that in Arabic, he happened to be our Middle Eastern expert, Uruj means one who walks with limp. And yeah, we all thought that was pretty amusing too, but our professor stared at him for a moment, and then she finally replied, Mr. Abiray, did you know that Uruj is the name of my goddaughter? And Mr. Abiray got called on a lot after that. Warning. If you ever find yourself constructing a multi-million-dollar educational facility near downtown Seattle, you should either A, plan for heavy rains and provide adequate drainage, or B, budget for replacing the bottom 6 inches of every wall in the basement. That really happened. Warning number 3, do not let the law kill the romance in your life. How did this happen? I'll tell you. The following passage is taken directly from the casebook from my bioethics class, which Professor Schmidt over here made us buy. I can assure you this was not a funny book. And I quote, despite the development of a variety of techniques to accomplish fertilization, most people still use coitus as the preferred process for initiating pregnancy. Is that inappropriate? I guess that leads me to a last warning. Do not let the law kill your sense of humor, whatever's left of it at this point. Always remember to stop and smell the rose. That's spelled R-O-E-S. Again later. Alright, I'm about to get the hook from Dean Denny here, but I promised a bunch of you that I would go through some random observations that I've made over the course of the last 4 years in law school. So, those of you who didn't experience this thrill ride with us, just bear with me here. Today's not about you anyway. Okay, here we go. Despite what you want to believe, from your professor's perspective, playing solitaire on your computer during class does not look the same as taking notes. In law school, it's not possible to ask a stupid question. It is assured. Volunteering repeatedly in class is the quickest way to endear yourself to your peers. Your peers being the 2 other people who volunteer in class. The continuous raising and lowering of the hand, like this, Appears to pump blood away from the brain. When Dean Clark gives you a gold star for volunteering in class, you cannot exchange that gold star for a free drink on the 5th floor student lounge. Just ask Chad Kirby. Guest speakers and panel discussions give us something to do while eating free pizza. If you buy a cup of alphabet soup at the sidebar, but all they have left are plastic knives, do not eat the alphabet soup with a knife. As Professor Oates taught us, a good lawyer never minces words. If your summer internship keeps you away from school for 3 months, do not leave a banana in your locker. As the provost mentioned, this is a Jesuit institution, and the Seattle University School of Law is committed to serving our community by providing equal access to the halls of justice for underprivileged members of our society. We call that social justice. However, if you ever had your quarters eaten, you will know that Seattle University's commitment to social justice does not extend to its vending machines. We now know it's possible to shut down the entire law school for an hour by simply punching a few extra zeros into the lunchroom microwave. We now know the fire department is 3 minutes away. We also now know that campus security does not have the forensics technology to dust a scorched popcorn bag. But you know who you are. Having class in a 300-level room upstairs for the first time may seem like you finally made it up to the rarefied air where the big kids go to engage in deep, intellectually stimulating legal discourse. But you soon learn it's actually the place where butts go to fall asleep. A civil action is not necessarily polite. I practiced my appellate argument in front of the mirror like Professor Cups told me to do, but I got reversed. A law school exam gives you a good preview of what it's like to commit actual legal malpractice. If you've ever really understood the class well, and that made you happy, you never ask anybody else what they got on the exam. Sisyphus was condemned for all eternity to repeatedly push a boulder up a hill. We had exam review periods. That was quiet. I guess none of you reviewed your exams with the professor, did you? The difference between a B and a B minus is instant messaging. If your Westlaw rewards points gets you anything better than a beer cozy, you are probably a geek. Or on law review. That's probably redundant. The difference between someone who uses a backpack to carry all their law books and someone who uses one of those rolling cases is, on average, 3 fused vertebrae by age 35. The Socratic method may still be the rule inside the classroom, but outside the classroom, the Platonic method has fallen into disfavor. Single people join study groups, but married people use them to study. If you don't want everyone to know what you did Saturday night, you probably shouldn't blog about it on your MySpace page. And your attraction to law professors is a variation on the Stockholm Syndrome. Finally, we'll see who understands this one, but I just want to make very clear that the letter P in the acronym PILF, P-I-L-F, does not stand for professors. Now, you don't want to know the websites of people that laughed at that one. So it wouldn't be right if I didn't end here with one last legal hypothetical. And I have one right here. Should I call on somebody? Some volunteers? How about from the stage? Professor Sly. Shoes on the other foot now.